This guy's resume is amazing. I don't even attempt to do it justice. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to laugh. It's Dr. Don.
Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it. You know, one of the things people ask me, how did you get the moniker Dr. Don? Is it because you have a PhD? I do have that, but honestly, that's not a big deal. I got mine on the back of a matchbook. When I grew up, everybody over the age of 8 smoked. And you couldn't bring home a lighter, so you always used, the matchbooks. And on the back of the matchbook they were the pop-up ads of the 50s, right? You flip up your matchbook, there'd be an ad in there. And mine said, 1-800-GET-DEGREE, D-G-R-E. You could buy a master's degree for $25 and a PhD for $50. So I had a paper route. I saved $100. I bought 2 master's degrees and a PhD. So that's where I got mine. But that's not really where Dr. Don came from. It actually came from grade school. I was born and raised in Rochester. Went to St. Michael's. How many Catholics in here? Got Catholics? Obviously not proud to be Catholics because nobody's testifying. When I was in grade school, I wanted to maybe pursue a career in medicine. There was a booklet that you got in class that was called The New York State Guide to Reproductive Sciences. And it was heavily redacted. So the New York State Guide to Reproductive Sciences ended up being the Rochester Diocese Guide to Marriage Fulfillment. So you couldn't wait to get into class to get this thing, because this was your sex education. This is what you were going to get. Everybody looked forward to the booklet. So you get the booklet, and it's just totally black marks all over the place. It would read, if you want to make a blank, you make sure your blank is blank, then you insert it into your lawfully wedded wife's blank, and 9 months later, you'll have the miracle of birth. So, it would have been a miracle indeed if you tried to follow that guide. But it wasn't about the description. It really was about the illustrations. So it's a 12-page booklet. You get to page 3, and there's a picture of a naked man. Now, that naked man has just a big black box right about here, all right? Then you go to page 4 and 5, and they're surgically excised from the booklet. So you don't know what the hell happened there. Then you get to page, what are we on? Page 6, and there's a naked woman who has a big bar up here and a giant V right here. Okay, then you turn the next 2 pages are surgically excised from the book. And then on page 12, there is a fully clothed man with a fully clothed woman and an already teenage kid. I wanted to be a gynomemologist. It's a subspecialty that really isn't practiced much anymore. But I like the idea. And in health class I remember this young lady. Her name was Madonna Cangelosi. That was her name, Madonna Cangelosi. Madonna also had an interest in becoming going into the medical sciences. She wanted to be a penologist, which again was a subspecialty of urology. Urology is the internal plumbing. Penology has to do with the external parts. So, Madonna and I would have study sessions. And we'd get into the nurse's office after class and, do our homework. So I was giving Madonna a full workup, and in walks Mother Mary Patrick. She was the principal of St. Michael's School. Obviously, she wasn't pleased. As a subtext here, you can imagine my surprise when I undid her blouse, there was no black box there. It really was very cool. So, you know, Madonna gets to go home. Dr. Don has to stay after school for the next 30 days and write on the board, I will not practice medicine in school 250 times, you know. But we were committed to our craft. So as soon as that was over, we're back at it. But apparently Mother Mary Patrick had her eyes on us because she walked in the middle of my testicular cancer screening. So, by the way, guys, I don't know if there's any young guys here, but it's never too early to get a testicular cancer screening. And anyway, so that one got a phone call to home. And Mother Mary Patrick said to my parents, either you get this kid to quit practicing medicine in school, or he's getting tossed out of school permanently. And that's how the name stuck, Dr. Don. One of the things that confuses me a bit these days is modern parenting. Today, every kid who has an issue has a disease, none of which existed 20 years ago. You know, it's like ADD, ADHD, ABCD. I had all of those as a kid. You know, and you know, I was in education for a while, so people come up to me and say, well, Dr. Don, Billy can't focus at school. He doesn't pay attention, and we try to talk to him. He acts out. Can you help? Do you know what's wrong? Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I think I do know what's wrong, and I can help. Billy is just a lazy little who'd rather text his way through class than actually pay attention. And what you might want to try is a spanking. It's cheaper than Prozac. There's no side effects, no lasting side effects, and you might find that he responds much more quickly. It's a new approach in early childhood education. It's called actual parenting. You know, and I'm not opposed, believe me, I'm not opposed to drugs. Not by any stretch, man. You know, I grew up in the 60s. I believe in better living through chemistry. I really do. Breastfeeding. You know, I have a friend whose wife thinks there's a population shortage. So she's up to 5 or 6 kids, breastfeeds every one of them. Every one of them. But aren't you supposed to stop at some point? You know, before the kid gets old enough to lift your blouse up, pull down your bra, and take his own drink? Really? And then when he's done, say, thank you, Mom, can I have the keys to the car? I'm going to hang out with my buds. That's disturbing on so many levels.
As I get older, I don't know whether it's the age or the perspective or whatever it is, but things start to annoy me. Participation trophies, I don't get it. Participation trophies. We went to a grandnephew's baseball game a while back, and you know, I mean, you walk up to, it's a baseball diamond. It's definitely a baseball diamond. The bleachers are just packed with people. You know, these are what, 7, 8-year-old kids. Bleachers are absolutely packed. There's 90 kids on each team, and there's 20 kids out there on the field. There's no scoreboard, no umpires, no pitcher, no catcher, and this plastic thing standing at home plate. So, you know, I get in the stands, and there's this 30-something mom sitting next to me, and I just said, you know, what the hell is this? She looks at me like I've got 3 eyes, and she says, well, it's a baseball game. I said, well, I could see what it's supposed to be, but what kind of baseball is this exactly? She said, well, you know, there's no winners or losers here. We don't keep score. Everybody plays, and they all get a trophy. And I'm thinking, well, you know, this is just odd. And I said, well, if there's no scoreboard, there's no pitcher, there's no catcher, there's no runs scored, what is the point? And she said, well, the point is feeling of self-esteem, accomplishment, and success. I said, well, if you really want that, why don't you let them score a run and actually win something? They'll feel great about that. And at the end of the game was finally called due to darkness, with all those kids needing to get up to bed. The coach is out there in the field. I could see him consoling some kid, because I guess kids these days need to be consoled, and it's our full-time job consoling them, So he's out there, and I can hear him, he's going, Johnny, I know you took 15 swings at that ball and you didn't hit any one of them. It doesn't matter. You looked great swinging that bat. And that time that you swung so hard the bat flew out and hit Timmy in the head and he's now in concussion protocol? Don't give it a second thought, because you should have seen that bat fly. You're terrific. And I want you to know that. And when we're done here, I want you to go over there and get your trophy, and then I want you to go show your parents, both sets of grandparents, your other set of parents through divorce, because they're all waiting over there, hovering over home plate, waiting to tell you how proud they are of you for your lack of accomplishment today. Good job. Ancestry.com. Anybody here done that? Yeah. So last year, Stephanie bought us 2 Ancestry.com things. Well, I don't know about this. It's one thing having to change from lederhosen to a kilt. But, do you really want to know what's really going on? I mean, maybe some things are just left to the dustbin of history. And sometimes I'm for letting sleeping dogs lie. Not Stephanie. She preferred to kick a sleeping dog. So she sends in the swab. We get them back. And first of all, my people, that's what Italians say, my people are from Sicily. Everybody knows where Sicily is? Sicily is sitting right there in the Mediterranean. Above it to the north is most of Italy. Directly to the west is Spain, to the east is Greece, and Africa is just a stone throw across the Med. So we get the numbers back, and I am 35% Roman, 35% Italian, 37% African, 18% Spanish, 8% Greek, and 2% Mongol. But anyway, you know how your brain sometimes you're going through a bunch of material that comes to a screeching halt and it backs up? Well, mine came to a deafening screeching halt and backed right up to that 37% African. That's the majority of my background. And since I grew up right here in Rochester, it turns out that I'm 37% African American. Well, all kinds of shit goes through your head when you're confronted with something like this. I mean, I'm 68 years old. I grew up in America as sort of a white man. And now I'm going to grow old in America basically as a black man. So, I mean, I'm not panicked. Life's an adventure. Time for a change. So I have this good friend who's a proud black man. His name is Norris. So I call Norris. And I tell him, dude, I'm 37% black. So he starts laughing his ass off, and he wouldn't stop. Then the questions, when he stops laughing, the questions just start pouring out. Norris, geez, can I don't know, can I wear more bling now? Can I lose my belts so that my pants go down below my ass? Should I sell all my hoodies? And he's laughing and laughing. And I said, can I use the N-word? Boom. Dead silence. He's not laughing anymore. He said, you absolutely cannot, under no circumstances, never, ever use the N-word. I said, why not? You do. And he said, well, you idiot, I'm 100% black. I said, well, can I use it 37% of the time? He said, only if you want to increase the chances of getting the shit kicked out of you on a daily basis 100% of the time. He said, and don't call me again till you can make some sense. Hangs up the phone. And my always supportive wife is sitting right over there staring at me the whole time. like I'm walking upside down on the ceiling with my head turned 180 degrees, spewing green vomit. I said, what? She said, you know, you really are a moron. I'm having you retested. And if you are 37% black, maybe in the meantime, your penis will grow 37%. And that'll be good. This past summer, I reached 48 consecutive years of marriage. Yeah. 5 different women, but the years were all consecutive. I mean, they just keep piling up. Actually, that's not true. Same woman. And I can tell you from 48 years of experience that you make some observations. And one of those observations I want to share with you tonight at great personal risk. And that's that, you know, I don't want to say that women have an opinion about everything, but women have an opinion about everything. They just do. It doesn't matter what it is. And in my case, I'm going to tell you this story. It's a bit personal and somewhat indelicate, but I think if we don't discuss these darker matters that have an effect on our mental health, we're just not going to evolve as human beings. So I'm going to share this with you. So this is single-ply toilet paper. I like single-ply toilet paper. I don't like double-ply toilet paper. I don't like triple-ply. I don't like cloud soft. I don't like super soft. I don't like super absorbent. I don't like quilted. You know, it's like wiping your ass with a bedspread. So I like this. So I'm in the bathroom, sitting on the toilet. My last vestige of privacy, my sanctum sanctorum, the only opportunity I'm ever going to have to be by myself. I'm sitting there with the wad in my hand, thinking the thoughts of the deeply contented, when this malevolent shadow just washes over me. I look up and Stephanie in the doorway, surveying the situation like she's breaking down a crime scene. That's wasteful, she says. I said, which part? She said the toilet paper, it's way too much. I said, well, first of all, Stephanie, you don't know what my immediate need is today. And secondly, it's single ply and it's all rolled up. It just looks like a lot. She says, no, it is a lot. You use too much. You don't need that much. Let me show you. And she snatches it out of my hand. So she takes the toilet paper, saves half of it, takes the other half and just folds it very neatly into a pile and hands it to me. I said, well, you know what? Since you've already got it and this is so important to you, why don't you just finish the job? And that's all I got for you tonight, folks. Thank you very much.